Coming up on WFT Midday, China slaps 34% tariff on all U.S. imports in retaliation for Trump's trade moves. China's not holding back, hitting U.S. goods with a massive new tariff.
And the Gators have arrived in San Antonio for the Final Four, and they are preparing for an exciting showdown against Auburn Saturday. The team is eager to make their mark in the biggest game of the season.
The pressure's on. Trump faces deadline for TikTok sale as the U.S. pushes for a deal before April 5th. With the deadline looming, Trump's administration is scrambling to finalize a deal on TikTok before the clock runs out. WFT Midday starts now.
Watching WUFT Midday.
All eyes are on the world's markets today as nations across the globe react to President Trump's new import taxes. This is WUFT Midday. I am Oriana Torre.
And I'm Sofia Mendez. Just 24 hours ago, stocks in the U.S. suffered their worst single-day loss since the start of the pandemic nearly 5 years ago. WFT's Manuela Lima is live in the studio with more on the president's hints he's open to negotiations.
The stocks opened up this morning in a free fall, picking up where it left off after Thursday's closure. While President Trump is taking a gamble that tariffs will restore American manufacturing and boost the economy in the long term, countries like China are hitting back. President Trump downplays the reaction to his sweeping new tariffs, arguing the economy is like a sick patient in recovery. The global trade war, though, only ramping up, with China announcing a matching 34% tariff on all U.S. imports. This comes as trading partners from the European Union to the UK and Canada prepare to retaliate.
We're taking it to a whole new level because it's a worldwide situation.
New jobs report shows stronger than expected hiring in March and a slight increase in unemployment. These numbers were put out before the full tariff picture hit. Adamant the tariff strategy will bring American manufacturing and jobs back to the U.S., a process economists warn may take years. A mixed picture so far, with companies like Hyundai and Apple announcing new investments in U.S. plants and jobs, while automaker Stellantis says it's temporarily laying off 900 workers in the U.S. as it pauses production in Mexico and Canada. Live in the studio, Manuela Lima, WUFT News.
The Trump administration has dismissed National Security Agency Director General Timothy Hall and Deputy Director Wendy Noble. The White House has not provided reasons for their removal. Lieutenant General William Hartman has been appointed as acting NSA director. These actions coincide with the firing of several National Security Council officials. Critics express concern over potential politicization of national security roles.
South Korea's top court has officially removed President Yoon Suk-yeol from office. The decision comes after his controversial move to declare martial law. Critics call it a dangerous overreach, and now the court agrees it violated the Constitution. The decision was met with joy by anti-Yoon demonstrators.
It's hard to describe, honestly. Excited, happy, but the moment the Constitutional Court said that he was impeached, I started bawling. I cried for 4 minutes, and I couldn't talk, and it was just such a heavy feeling.
The Prime Minister is stepping in as acting president while the country prepares for a new election. Yoon could now face serious jail time or worse as he heads to trial for insurrection.
It's been feeling like summer all this week, and temperatures are at record levels. We've reached the 90s Wednesday for the first time this year, and it may get even hotter this weekend.
WUFT's Nicole Borman joins us now with the weather forecast and what you need to know about this record heat.
That's right, guys. Those temperatures are going to be getting much hotter later on today, but right now, temperatures looking really nice right now. We're seeing those low 80s, 82 in Gainesville, 80 in Lake City, 81 in High Springs, but later on today, we're going to be seeing that increase going from those mid to upper 80s up into those low 90s, which we haven't seen in almost over a decade. So those are some pretty high temperatures, and I would definitely be dressing for that if you're planning on spending your afternoon outside today. But for right now, with those cooler temperatures and those low 80s, this looks really nice outside. We have some low-hanging clouds right now over Century Tower and over the stadium. We have a slight breeze outside, but later on into the week, going into next week, we could be seeing this development pass through and push over past Florida, giving them some rain. But later on to the show, I'll be telling you more about this record-breaking heat, the storm that's on the way next week, and the 70s we're going to be expecting next week.
Gainesville neighbors overwhelmingly voted in support of returning control of Gainesville Regional Utilities to the city in November, but a judge says those votes don't count and the legal battle continues. WFT's Madison Ginsberg spoke with the CEO of Gainesville Regional Utilities about the GRU decision.
A circuit court judge ruled that a vote made back in November of 2024 to return control of Gainesville Regional Utilities back to the city was invalid. Although the referendum had almost a 73% vote in favor of returning the control back to the city, the judge did conclude that the information on the ballot was misleading and unclear. An argument that is one for the history books.
It's more than just a vote of 73% of the folks saying, well, they want it to be under city control.
Should the authority or the city control Gainesville Regional Utilities? James Colin lives in the city and has an opinion.
I think the city of Gainesville should have access to it.
At one time, GRU was tagged as having the highest utility bills in the state, concerns even reaching state lawmakers. We spoke with Gainesville Mayor Harvey Ward about the matter before the judge ruled.
We said in 2023 that this was going to be a months and years issue, not a days and weeks issue, and I think we are still in that place.
GRU CEO Ed Bilarski believes having the authority gives taxpayers the authority. Bilarski says Gainesville is now in the middle range of residential electricity costs in the state.
The city focuses city interests over 1/3 of our customers that live outside the boundaries of the city.
If a revised referendum is introduced, GRU plans to appeal.
If the city isn't capable of doing their job, then it has to be something else.
The people who turn the wrenches and do the work at the utility will continue to do great work. Who is ultimately in charge? I don't think that's going to be settled for a little while.
Going forward, city leaders are thinking about rewording the ballot referendum. The Gainesville City Commission wants to give city voters who supported returning GRU to city's control the opportunity to vote on it. At Gainesville Regional Utilities, Madison Ginsberg, WUFT News.
How young is too young to work long hours? That question is sparking debate in Florida over a bill currently moving through the state Senate. The proposed law will loosen restrictions on teen work hours, stirring strong reactions. CNN's Ivan Rodriguez has more on this conversational issue and how Floridians are responding.
For the owners of this classic America soda fountain in Tallahassee, loosening restrictions on child labor makes some sense.
Getting that half-hour break exactly at 4 hours or exactly at the right time so we don't violate is really hard to schedule.
For other business owners, it raises alarms.
We just hope it's not going to lead to kids having to make a tough decision as to whether they need to work or they can do those, things that everybody wants to do when they're kids.
A bill making its way through the Florida legislature would allow 16 and 17-year-olds to work more than 8 hours on a day when school is scheduled the next day and work over 30 hours a week during the school year without mandated meal breaks, and removes overnight work restrictions on 14 and 15-year-olds who are homeschooled, attend virtual school, or have already graduated. Governor Ron DeSantis argues this will help fill positions left by deported migrants.
What's wrong with expecting our young people to be working part-time now? I mean, that's how it used to be when I was growing up.
Do you believe that this bill would have an impact on a child's development?
Absolutely, because we already are seeing high levels of absenteeism.
Sadaf Knight with the Florida Policy Institute says children can already work longer hours through a waiver process involving parents, guardians, or a school superintendent.
Parents are essentially being excluded from the process of the decision-making around how long and how much their kids work.
The bill sparking protests from some young Floridians at the state capitol.
Child labor protections are a crucial backstop to prevent corporations from exploiting young people in the state.
In Tallahassee, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Gainesville city officials have initiated renovations at Tom Petty Park with a groundbreaking ceremony. The project includes 8 new pickleball courts, enhanced seating areas, and improved parking lot lighting. A new pedestrian entrance will be added from the northeast 16th Avenue crosswalk. The existing multi-purpose trail will be rerouted to improve ADA accessibility. Completion is anticipated by early 2026. Fort White High School resumed normal operations after a brief lockdown Thursday. The lockdown was triggered when a woman suspected of trespassing led Columbia County Sheriff's deputies on a vehicle chase that ended at the school. Authorities lifted the lockdown later that afternoon. Deputies confirmed there was no threat to the school. Classes are set to continue as scheduled.
The Florida Gators men's basketball team has arrived in San Antonio for the Final Four. They will face the Auburn Tigers on Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. The winner will move on to Monday's national championship game. Excitement is building as the fans from both schools head to Texas. The team is focused and ready for one of its biggest games of the season. We have a crew in San Antonio and will bring you a live report on First at 5 on Channel 5.
If the Gators men's basketball team wins this weekend's game, keep your Monday night plans free. The city of Gainesville will host a watch party at Boo Diddley Plaza for the NCAA championship game. The game will be shown on a 16-by-9-foot LED video wall. The event is free to the public and attendees are encouraged to bring their own chairs and blankets.
As Gainesville cheers on the Gators at the Final Four on Saturday, city leaders are asking fans to celebrate safely and are encouraging residents to be aware of your surroundings and drink responsibly. Make sure to never drink and drive. Instead, designate a sober driver, use a ride-share service, or take public transportation. Leaders want to remind fans only those 21 and older can drink legally.
This morning, there was some patchy fog, but now the sunshine has taken over on this summer like Friday. We are on our way to record high temperatures later this afternoon in the lower 90s. Taking a live look over Paynes Prairie, traffic is light and moving steadily.
That's right, guys. The temperature is going to be looking really nice later on today. Some temperatures we haven't seen in almost a decade, but right now outside we're seeing those clouds over Century Tower and over the stadium with temperatures right now in those low 80s and a slight little gust coming in from the east. But take a look at that all over the north central Florida. We have 82 in Gainesville, 80 in Lake City, and 81 in High Springs. Some nice temperatures. Just sit outside and enjoy the breeze. But later on today, it's going to be getting pretty hot, so I'd have that sunscreen on hand. We're going from those high 80s up into those low 90s, and those temperatures we haven't seen in almost over a decade. I think I've already emphasized that, but it's a pretty crazy time. Right now, we're seeing 92 in Gainesville, 91 in Stark, and 87 in Jacksonville are going to be the highs today, which is not really common for this later on into the year. I'm going to be showing you guys those records right now. Now look at this. On Wednesday and on Thursday, we tied with those records from 2017. But then for today and for Saturday, we're seeing an even higher temperature today than we did since 1974. But even though that nice weather is looking really great right now, we want to hold on to it for just a little bit longer. We do have this development going on in the middle of the country. It's going to be pulling further towards us going into the beginning of our next week. Now this high pressure system right here is what's going to be pulling that towards us. Now it's going to be showing more so on this development right here. Barely grasping the panhandle on Saturday. We're seeing not temperatures, but winds up to 70 miles per hour and baseball-sized hail. But as we go into our Sunday, we're seeing as it's going to be touching that panhandle and brisking towards over us. Now, that is how that wind and that hail is going to be affecting us, but those flash flood risks are also important. So going into Saturday, we're going to be seeing that as it slowly inches towards Florida, but continues to lighten up a little bit once it starts hitting us directly with 2 to 3 inches of rain per hour with overwhelming drainage that could be causing that flooding. Now we can see as this tracks out going into our weekend, you're seeing how that passes and now touches land on Florida Monday morning, causes that diagonal land to pass right over us, clearing us up for Tuesday afternoon. So even though we're going to be having that experience at the beginning of next week, this weekend's looking really nice. We're seeing those high temperatures, a little bit of clouds, and no rain this time, which is really, really nice for us. Now for our 7-day forecast, I'm going to be showing you guys how that temperature is going to be dropping down into those 70s going into next week, then staggeringly getting warmer, while that rain's going to be hitting us heaviest on Monday.
Now let's head over to our Noticias partners for a look at today's top stories for our Spanish language audience.
Hola, soy Sabrina Cruz con tus noticias 90 segundos. México se liberó de los últimos aranceles de los Estados Unidos. La presidenta de México, Claudia Sheinbaum, dice que México está protegido de los últimos aranceles bajo el Tratado de Libre Comercio que Canadá, México y los Estados Unidos firmó en el primer periodo del presidente Trump.
Sin embargo, muchos países con tratados de libre comercio con los Estados Unidos fueron impactados por los aranceles que Trump anunció el miércoles. México todavía sentiría los efectos de los aranceles al acero, el aluminio y a los automóviles importados. Escuelas K-12 tienen que certificar la eliminación de prácticas discriminatorias para recibir fondos federales. Esto sigue a un memorando del 14 de febrero declarando ilegal cualquier política escolar que trate a los estudiantes o al personal de manera diferente debido a su raza. El Departamento de Educación les da 10 días a las escuelas para firmar y devolver la certificación que están poniendo fin a prácticas discriminatorias de diversidad, equidad e inclusión. Si escuelas y estados usan prácticas ilegales de DEI, corren el riesgo de perder dinero federal, incluyendo ayudas y contratos. La aplicación TikTok podría llegar a su fin, pero puede que haya una solución. La administración del presidente Donald Trump está planeando un acuerdo para salvar a TikTok. Según una fuente cercana al acuerdo, este plan le permitiría a China mantener el control de la aplicación, que será alquilado a una empresa estadounidense con una participación menor. Están considerando una orden ejecutiva que Trump firmará el viernes y que extendería la fecha límite para buscar otra solución. Esas fueron tus noticias en 90 segundos. Gracias por sintonizarnos.
The clock is ticking for TikTok. The popular social media app could face a U.S. ban if non-Chinese company doesn't buy by tomorrow. President Trump's extension expires then, and it's still unclear if a deal will be reached in time. As Amy Kiley reports, the White House says it's working on a plan to avoid the ban.
It'll come out before the deadline.
The White House says it's working on a deal to keep TikTok in U.S. app stores. A bipartisan law is set to ban it over national security concerns, unless its Chinese parent company ByteDance sells it. TikTok is operating on an extension that ends tomorrow.
You want to make sure that the TikTok app in the United States is not spying on people.
Right.
That's good for national security. You also want to give people access to this incredible platform.
Under the U.S. law, ByteDance must sell at least 80% ownership. China seems reluctant to allow that. President Donald Trump is floating the idea of using tariffs as leverage.
It doesn't matter how many investors want to buy this U.S. app of TikTok. Does China want to let them buy it is the big question. They have indicated that they don't.
A deal also must meet two other requirements. The first is TikTok and ByteDance can't coordinate on data sharing due to privacy concerns. Analysts say that could be doable since the U.S. company Oracle now stores that information. The second is ByteDance can't control TikTok's algorithm for fear China could use it to influence Americans. That's a sticking point that Trump once proposed addressing with a lease agreement.
If you're licensing the algorithm, I don't personally understand how you're solving for that problem, but I'm sure that's something that the U.S. government is talking about with this deal.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Zelle has discontinued its standalone app as of April 2nd due to minimal usage. Only 2% of Zelle's transactions occur through the app, with most users preferring bank-integrated platforms. Users can continue sending and receiving money via Zelle through participating banks and credit unions. The standalone app will remain accessible for viewing transaction history until August 11th. Zelle advises users to enroll in their bank's online services to maintain seamless access.
There's good news for people who want to eat 12 inches worth of nachos. Subway is adding foot-long nachos to its Sidekicks menu. The sandwich chain has joined forces with Doritos for this dish. If